Hi, my name is Erin Hansen. I am preparing for a show at Nancy Cawdrey's Studios and Gallery in Whitefish, Montana. The show is called American Vistas, and it's a collection of paintings from all over the United States. And I'd like to take a few minutes and tell you about each of the paintings. This painting is called Lavender Fields, and it's a painting of Sequim, Washington. I took a trip up the California coast and then up through the Oregon coast, all the way up to the northern tip of Washington state, just so I could photograph these lavender fields. I have always wanted to paint lavender fields. They're such a beautiful, fragrant, traditional flower, and this was a particularly beautiful landscape because the mountains in the distance were these huge purple and blue mountains, and they were the perfect setting and backdrop for painting these vivid purple flowers. This painting is called Zion Trail, and it's a painting of Zion National Park in southern Utah. This piece depicts the landscape you see just before you go into the deeper canyons of Zion, and I saw this landscape hiking around in the early dawn. The thing I really wanted to capture in this painting was the glow of light that you see as it strikes these mountains surrounding you. And so I did something a little different with this painting. I actually primed the canvas using 24 karat gold leaf. So I took squares of gold leaf and basically pasted them onto the canvas before I started painting. So this painting actually reflects light back at you as you look at it from different angles, and you can't always tell what it is that you're looking at, but you can see extra glow of color coming out of the canvas. So it's kind of a subtle effect, but it's a technique I use on occasion, and it works really well with these really red, bold landscapes such as Zion National Park. This painting is called Eucalyptus Sunlight, and this piece captures the beautiful open landscape south of Carmel in California. I wanted to capture the abstract shape of these trees in this painting and the feeling of big open sky that you experience sometimes. And this piece is very small. It's only 11 by 14 inches, so it's part of my petite collection. And it's always fun to try to capture wide open space on such a small canvas using a limited number of colors and brushstrokes. This painting is called Oaks on a Hill. This is one of my petite paintings, which is what I call my oil paintings that are less than 20 inches. This piece is a painting of Paso Robles, California, which is a beautiful wine country region in Central California. And the thing I love about these petite paintings is that you really get to see the brushstrokes up close and personal. It's like a little vignette of this perfect idyllic landscape. And I love the colors that you see right at dawn when the sun hits the tops of the rolling hills and turns the gray-green shadows into these brilliant sherbet colors. This painting is called Rising Mist, and it's a painting of Vermont. I went to the East Coast for the first time a couple years ago to photograph the fall colors, and this was an early morning, and I was driving through the Appalachian slopes of Vermont where all the ski towns are, and it was about 6 in the morning, and I was waiting for the sun to come out, and I was getting frustrated because the sun wasn't out yet, and I was losing that perfect early morning light that I love to paint. And then all of a sudden, the mist just broke, and the mist rose, and I saw this perfect valley filled with these maple trees and oaks and all this color, and the mist gave everything this really soft pink purple light, and it was just ended up being the perfect opportunity to create a painting. This painting is called Spring Hills, and it's a painting of Mariposa, which is a beautiful wine country region just right next to Yosemite National Park. In this painting, I wanted to capture the amazing spring color that you see in May and April. It's just shades of bright apple green everywhere you look. And of course there's beautiful California oak trees spotted everywhere. And I used big bold brush strokes and lots of impasto texture to capture that feeling of energy that you get when you're out of doors. This painting is called Mountain Oak, and it's a painting of Paso Robles, California, which is one of my favorite regions to paint in the United States. I live in Southern California, so after just a few hours jaunt up the coast, you hit this beautiful, idyllic landscape of, just perfect California wine country. There's rolling hills and gentle pathways weaving in and out of the trees, a beautiful coastal light in the morning. And this painting captures that soft morning light that you see first thing in the morning, where everything kind of glows in hues of peach and pink and purple. And as in all of my paintings, I use thick textural brushstrokes and loose impressionistic style in order to capture. This painting is called Tahoe Donner, and it was, of course, inspired by Lake Tahoe. I went there a couple years ago in the summer, and what struck me most about this location was the beautiful aqua colors of the water and the beautiful abstract pine trees that were growing next to the water. So this painting captures both the color and these really neat high elevation pine trees. This painting is called Aspen Path, and it's a painting of Cedar Breaks National Park in southern Utah, located close to Zion, if you've ever been there. I was hiking there alone early one morning, and they had all these trails going through these aspen trees, and it was dead quiet because it was about 6 in the morning, and I could hear the little coin-shaped leaves rustling in the wind around me, and I wanted to capture that sense of peace and quiet that you feel out in the wilderness in a national park. This painting is called Monsoon Sky, and it was inspired by a trip I took to New Mexico. And if you've ever spent some time in New Mexico, you know the monsoon clouds that happen in July and August. So this painting captures those dramatic, colorful, high contrast clouds, and I wanted to capture the way the rain would move across the landscape, and you could watch the clouds drop their rain onto the landscape. And I used very thick textural brushstrokes and thick, bold texture to capture the energy of this landscape. This painting is called Golden Hills, and it's another painting of Paso Robles, California, which is one of my favorite regions to paint in California. I love the perfect rolling hills and the idyllic vineyards and the perfect California oak trees, and it's just very paintable landscape. This is a petite painting, so it's only about this big, and you get an up-close and personal view of the landscape, and you really get to experience the brushstrokes and texture of the piece with these small paintings. This painting is called Aspen Groves, and it's a painting of Cedar Breaks National Park in southern Utah, close to Zion National Park. Cedar Breaks is actually home to the largest aspen grove in the United States. So if you know anything about aspens, their roots are all connected, so they're considered a single organism. It's actually, I think, one of the largest organisms on the planet, these aspen groves. Anyway, so you can see here in this painting the way the aspens grow along the side of the hills, and it's really neat because they change color in waves since all the plants are connected. So you'll see these waves of gold next to waves of orange and then waves of red, and they all kind of flow together. So I wanted to capture this beautiful variety of color that you see in southern Utah. This painting is called Desert Ocotillo, and it's a painting of the Big Bend National Park in southern Texas. I spent some time down there over the last couple years. I did a show down in Alpine, Texas, so I was painting the local region, and I got so inspired by the desert landscape down there. I had never seen anything like it. They have these buttes that just rise out of the ground in these dramatic kind of sawtooth shapes, and there's ocotillos growing everywhere, more ocotillos than I've ever seen in my whole life. And all the ocotillos turn bright green with these pretty little bird-like flowers on the tips of them. And it's just like this magical deserted landscape, because it's like 8 hours from the nearest town, from the nearest airport. So it takes forever to get down there. So it's very isolated. This painting is called Wildflower Light, and it's a painting of Texas hill country. I love painting Texas hill country because there are more wildflowers there than you will ever see anywhere else. And it's actually because a president's wife, Lady Bird Johnson, took the time to sow wildflower seeds all over the state of Texas. So there are bluebonnets and primroses and brown-eyed Susans and just every color of every type of wildflower you can imagine growing in abundance everywhere you look in the spring. So it's kind of a big tourist attraction. Even people come and they follow the wildflower trails and take photos of the bluebonnets. So this painting captures some of my favorite wildflowers and the bright green grasses that you see in Texas hill country. This painting is called Montana Clouds, and it's a painting of a landscape near Whitefish, Montana. I used really strong abstract shapes in this painting to capture the drama of the landscape. And Montana is known for its color, so I tried to bring in the most vivid colors I could to capture the beauty of this landscape. I hope you enjoyed my painting description. I'm very excited about my upcoming show at Nancy Cawdrey Studios and Gallery. Whitefish, Montana is such a beautiful location to have a show, and I love being able to bring together some of my favorite landscapes from across the US and share them in this beautiful gallery. I hope you enjoy the collection.